So I was saying that I suffered through nausea and really intolerable symptoms of pregnancy while I was in Nevada with my ex, right? Um, with my daughter's dad. I feel like I should identify, or like at least try to identify, try to describe the sort of relationship we had before I proceed any further, because I've wavered from, and I've just like taken note of myself doing this. I've wavered from referring to him as my boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend, my ex-spouse, my daughter's dad. And, I just wanted to create a point of clarity, both for myself and for anyone listening to this. So, my my daughter's father never fully described our relationship in terms of uh, you know most times, at least in my own experience, most girls will leave it up to the man to um, to delineate their relationship, right? To define it, and most times this is by uh, um, a kind of coming out as a couple, uh, mutual. Well, not, I just described it not being mutual, but any girl would want to feel loved and wants to feel protected, wants to feel. Some girls want to feel owned. I'm one of that demographic. Want to feel cherished, and so a lot of girls will wait for a man to do this, to like indicate what they are, to say, oh, we're dating, we're seeing each other, we are, to all intents and purposes, wanting to have something long lasting, right? So it's kind of like described, there's a kind of official statement given, whether to um, the person you're seeing, or to um, whether to the person you're seeing or to uh, other people. And it's so funny because sometimes other people feel, take it upon themselves to describe for you your relationship. And I mentioned how in the beginning, Mr. Anderson, the punk who paid me $200 a week, um, during this really low point in my life, um, who did not really. Anyway, I'm not gonna get sidetracked. I'm not gonna get sidetracked with this idiot. But this guy who paid me really pathetically and who didn't pay others of his staff, called me a cougar, right? Because I was in my 30s and my boyfriend was in his 20s, right? Also, you have to understand, with black and white relationships, um, there is a with black and white relationships, because a lot of times white white people, I'm gonna just make a generalization here, never do this, but I'm gonna do this. White people tend to look older than they really are. I've I think there's some kind of social consensus where most black people agree that white people look older than they are. And I've heard it come from like white people themselves, like my sister and my ex-sister-in-law and so forth has, like made jokes of the at their own expense, and indicated this, right? Like they too think that white people look older than they are. Anyway, so I'm not trying to be politically correct here. I'm just speaking my truth. I'm just speaking from my own experience. And so I think enough people, like, there's been a social consensus that white people look older than they tend to be, especially like Europeans, and not just not in terms of like phenotypic features, but in terms of like responsibilities too. Like they take on responsibilities earlier than people from the Caribbean. My sister lived with my mom until she was 30, and I remember my husband at the time, he was Dutch, saying, "Oh my God, what the F? What the fuck is happening with her? Why is that sister still at home?" And he took it upon himself to criticize and condemn my sister's being at home, right? And he would not ease up from this. He would not ease up from this. And I was just thinking, is it such a big deal? Like, it's actually smart. You know, like in our economy, our short economy, it makes sense to stay at home for longer. Like you save, you can help out, you know, like it just people group up and do things, and this is normal. This is a cultural, you know, norm. And he just couldn't get his poor brain around it. Anyway, he left home from he was 15. And I mean, I don't want to go delve too much into that, but I think it was kind of perforce too. It wasn't like, you know, oh, he was such an independent, wonderful person. He was absolute, like an absolute nightmare who threatened to like kill his sister and was like wreaking havoc in the home and raising phone bills, telling me how he once, you know, had a phone bill of thousands of dollars, and this is in Europe, this is a lot of money, and how his parents had enough and kicked him out. Well, he was very handsome as a, you know, in his youth, so I can imagine, like, you know, he had quite a few of a few, you know, interested girls, or he was like, you know, being a player or whatever. So I laugh now because of my naivete when I met him. Oh my God. Anyway, so here you have him like shunning my sister and saying, you know, she's like trying to make her sound like she's worthless because she chose to stay at home. And then on the other end, you have like your parents who like take on responsibilities like fairly early. His sister was also emancipated at 16. And so, you know, you have this juxtaposition between very different cultures. Anyway, so I'm saying with that I'm arguing that white people tend to look older because maybe they also are acting older. Anyway, regardless, the guy I was seeing, I'm showing exactly how nuanced and vague the definitions of our, you know, relationship were. But make no mistake, we had all the activities of a boyfriend and girlfriend, you know, in the sense that we were dating exclusively, not dating, we were seeing each other exclusively. We were also, I was pregnant, and the relationship transitioned really fast from him saying, you know, this is just for the here and now. So in his, verbatim, this is just delay. And it transitioned really quickly into him, you know, just saying, I only want you. Like, there's nobody else for me. And this is not stuff like I said to myself. He said this stuff to me. He went from saying, this is just delay to, I love you. I only want you in my life. Right. There was here's one weird thing that happened. So one night, I remember asking him, this was via text. He was in his room, I was in my room. And I remember texting him and saying, how do you say I love you in German? Right. I was just intrigued. Like, we had nothing to talk about. He was online still. I was online still. It was so cute. It was so cute. It was so like childish and like, you know, like immature in the sense of like, being, you know, liking somebody else, you know, being like exclusive. I also felt very like relaxed. Like, I didn't feel like he was, you know, running behind my back and seeing other people. But I do remember being really like shocked once that he said, like, right before he slept with me, he you know, there's this girl who I saw in his phone, this like number, and it was this girl who he said he slept with a week before he slept with me. I was really shocked. I won't make any bones about it. I will, honest to God, I was absolutely shocked because I don't like see someone sexually and then see someone in the next week, you know, like I was shocked. I was just really appalled and taken aback. I could not believe that he was, you know, so like he was, I don't know, like I thought he was, because he was so interested in talking to me, and I thought, oh, this is our thing that we do. We get together and we talk. And so afterwards I was thinking in retrospect, if he was interested in me in like having something, because he never stated this, and neither did he disclose that he liked me, right? Or he liked me. Um, and so it was just really peculiar that he see a mosquito. I want to get him so bad. I want to get him so bad. I have itchy hands, you guys. I have hands that if I see a pimple or if I see a mosquito, I have to get this mosquito. Just